Konnichiwa, konbanwa, ohayo gozaimasu. What's up, guys? It's your boy Khan, and welcome to episode 117 of Good or Garbage, the #1 place where you can find out what stuff is being sold in a division on a weekly basis. And this week it is Pistol Mod Attachment City. Some of this stuff is good, some of it is decent. Some of it is kind of placeholder-ish. Anything that you may be looking for that you didn't see in the video, be sure to go down into the description and check out the heads up section. There's quite a few stuff that's down there that I don't always talk about, but could be very helpful for you depending on what kind of builds you're looking for. Remember, the global event is going on this week, so if you have not done any of that, definitely go and check that out. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Go ahead. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below. Good or garbage. All right, now let's move on to the attachments for this week. At the special equipment vendor this week, we have an extended magazine for sale. This one coming in with 110.5 magazine size, 2.5% critical hit chance, and 5.5% rate of fire. Now, the thing about this is that it is not in the best possible position. There's a lot of room in magazine size that we can have, and crit chance can be improved as well. So this would have to be a placeholder, and I would recommend this only if you're desperate, and I mean very, very desperate. And the reason I say that is because the Phoenix credits are going to cost you 192 per pop, and it's really not the best ever. So I would say if you don't really need this, or you can hold out, then I would say do so, because this really isn't that great. But I know that some people are in the need for some of this. Maybe they're just coming back to the division and they're desperate to get it. So if you just want to grab it until you can get something better, then definitely go and check it out at the special equipment vendor in the base of operations. At West 53rd Street, there is a muzzle brake being sold this week with 13.5% stability, 6% headshot damage, and 3% critical hit chance. If you've been looking for something like this to kind of even out your shooting with maybe like an AR, then this could work out for you. A good amount of stability, some good headshot damage, and 3% chance is always very, very useful with ARs. That extra chance is always going to help you out. And then with the headshot damage and the modifier being headshot damage for this global event, maybe not too bad to help push you over the edge to finish out some of the events and all of the missions that you may have to do. So if you're looking for something like this, it's not bad. Go ahead and check it out over at West 53rd Street. Over at West 42nd Street, there is a small grip being sold this week with 18% critical hit damage, 5% reload speed, and 2% accuracy. Now, while last week's grip that was recommended, highly recommended last week, was 19% critical hit damage, it also had reload speed, and I believe it was accuracy as well. This one only comes in with 18%, so if you missed out on the one from last week, then unfortunately this is the one that you get. But if you did grab the one from last week, then hey, you don't need this. You got something better. At East 31st Street, more rate of fire magazines being sold this week. We have a heavy magazine spring with 4% critical hit damage, 2.5% critical hit chance, and 10.6 rate of fire increase. Now these do get up higher than this, and critical hit chance does go up to 3. So this is not the top of the line. It's not a god roll, unfortunately. But it is, it's not bad. If you're going to use this, it would work really, really well with Lone Star, giving you that critical hit damage, crit chance, and a rate of fire bump. But there are some better options that you can probably use if you are going to run Lone Star or any of the other larger magazine modded attachments. So I would say kind of look at this, be skeptical, check your inventory. You may actually have something buried deep in your vault that's better than this. So make sure that you keep stock on what you actually have, because I know oftentimes we take a lot of stuff and then we just kind of put it in our little containers and we never even look at it again, or we just kind of forget. So if you have something better than this, go ahead and forget about this one. But if you don't, you may want to try it out. Maybe grab one, try it out, see if you like it, and if not, there's always next week. At East 53rd Street, there is an extended magazine being sold this week with 112% magazine size, 4% critical hit damage, and 5.3 4% rate of fire. Now, while there is another extended mag being sold this week, this one has a slightly larger magazine size. This one is spec'd more into critical hit damage, and it has a slightly slower rate of fire. Now, with this being damage instead of chance, this could work out a little bit better for an SMG over an AR. So if you are looking for something to go in your SMG, then yeah, go ahead and take a look at this. But the magazine could be a bit larger and the rate of fire could be a bit faster, so I'm not really high on really pushing people to go and check this out, but it is okay. So if you are looking for something like this, head on over to East 53rd Street and check it out. Over at the Dark Zone vendor at DZ5, we have the SR7 suppressor. This one coming in with a very nice 19% critical hit damage, 4% optimal range, 2.5% stability, and 44% reduced threat. Now, while the stability and the reduced threat could be improved, optimal range is kind of meh. The 19% critical hit damage is still very nice. So if you need one of these, go ahead and pick this up over at the vendor in DZ5. Remember that this only fits on larger weapons. This will not fit on SMGs. So if you need a muzzle that will fit on an SMG to give you crit damage, you're probably going to have to go with something else, just because this will only work for larger weapons. So keep that in mind before you go over there and step your toe into the Dark Zone. If you're not ready for that, stay out the kitchen. All right, over at DZ9, there is an extended magazine being sold this week. This makes the third one for this week. So taking a look at it, it is different from the others, and we will talk about that. This one has 115.5% magazine size, 3% critical hit chance, and 5.1% rate of fire. Now, where this differs from the other two extended magazines from this week, the one in the base of operations has a smaller magazine size. It has a lower critical hit chance. The one in the base has 2.5. This one is 3, but the one in the base has a higher rate of fire, has the highest rate of fire out of all of them for this week at 5.5. This one coming in at 5.1. Now, the other extended magazine that is being sold this week is over was it like East 53rd Street, somewhere around there. That one has a smaller magazine size. That one is 112. This one is 115. The other one, the one in the Dark Zone, is being sold with critical hit damage and not chance, and it has still yet again a higher rate of fire at 5.3. So depending on what you're looking for, you know, if you like a higher rate of fire and chance, then you may want to go with something else. If you don't mind the loss in magazine size. If the magazine size is your priority and maybe you want that over something else, and you know, it's all up to you depending on what you guys want. The options are there. The descriptions for all of this stuff are in the description, so you can go and check it out, look at the numbers yourself, and kind of figure out what it is you want to get. The one major difference is that the one in the base of operations will cost you, I believe, Phoenix credits, whereas this one and the other one in the Dark Zone will cost you Dark Zone credits. So depending on what you have, you know, make the choice appropriate to you, and let me know in the comment section below, what did you decide? Which one did you pick up, or did you just leave all of that stuff alone? And by the way, all the rest of the attachments for DZ9 are straight garbage, so there's no point in wasting your time on that. Now let's go take a look at this week's gear mods. This week over at Camp Hudson, there is a performance mod being sold with 4% ballistic shield damage. If you are looking for something like this to help you out on your build and you're running some kind of defense build, then this could help you to get more damage output even without being spec'd so hard into firearms. So with the defense build, you're not going to be speccing too hard into firearms, so any little bit of damage that you can have will help. So if you are looking for something like this, this is a very good mod to have for a defense build. So go ahead, stock up on these, throw them in there, and enjoy. This week over at the Ward, the gear vendor has a purple prototype Firearms Mod. You know what that means. Damage to elites. We've got 3% damage to elites with a pretty nice 204 firearms score. So if you've been looking for some damage to elites, Unfortunately, it's not 4% damage to elites. I'm really looking forward to seeing a 4%er with some high firearms on it. But yeah, I mean, it is firearms and it still is damage to elite, so you will get something out of it. It's better than having electronics. So if you need something like this, go ahead and cop it over at the Ward. And just as a side note, there's also a prototype performance mod with 2% Pulse critical hit chance. If you are using Pulse, you want to get a little bit more crit chance, then you can go ahead and cop this and throw it in there. Just saying, those are the two mods worth looking at over at the Ward, so go ahead and check them out. Over at Southpaw this week, we have another damage to elites mod being sold. This one in the stamina section, stamina at 192. The last one over in the Ward is a bit higher, but it is firearms. So if you need something for stamina, then you can go ahead and check this one out. But if you need something for firearms, you may want to head back over to the Ward and go see about that one. At East 40th Street, we have some electronics mod being sold with 261 electronics, and also comes with 2.5% exotic damage resilience. Now, if you don't know what exotic damage resilience is, this basically gives you a little bit more damage resilience to anything that is not a bullet. So anything like grenades or flame turrets and stuff like that should help you out with that. So, if you are looking for something in that range, maybe you have troubles with that, maybe you don't have a final measure guy in your crew, then this could help you out a little bit, although there are still some better options. And 2.5%, I'm kind of not sure, I don't really remember, but I think this may go up to 3%, but I could be wrong. I might be tripping. It's too early in the morning for all of this, but anyway, 261 electronics. If you need something like this, go ahead and check it out. It's over at East 40th Street. This week at Madison's stand, we have a firearms mod being sold with 262 firearms and a whopping 2% all resistance. Actually, there is another mod being sold this week over at Autumn's Hope. That's 261, so not really much of a difference. They both suck because they use an all resistance. If you ever get like any mod that is like, even if the roll on it is really good, like you get a 267 or whatever, and then you just like, man, it's got all resistance on it, yeah, delete that. At East 64th Street this week, we have a prototype stamina mod with 260 stam and 4% signature ability resource gain. So if you've been looking for a way to improve your signature, being able to use it more often, this plus determined could really work out for you. Having this is going to give you 4% more signature ability resource, so you can use it even more. Go ahead, try this out. 260 stam, not too bad. Now let's take a look at the 280 to 283 gear score items. At West 31st Street, there is a gear score 282 PX4 Storm Type F sidearm. This one coming in with one of the best talents in the game right now, Predatory. Now, if you don't know much about Predatory, if you get the kill, it will regenerate your health over 20 seconds. So this could be very useful in a pinch. Good all-around talent. If you don't have any of these predatory talents on any of your weapons, you may want to have it in the sidearm just so that you can bust it out when your health gets low. Maybe you ran out of med kits or something. You just tap it out, kill one of the NPCs, and then boom, you got some health coming your way. So go ahead and check it out if you need something like this at West 31st Street. At Camp Clinton, at the special equipment vendor, we have a gear score 281 Centurion being sold this week with the talent Accurate. Now, although the Centurion is also being sold in the base of operations this week, I thought I would throw this in there just because it is slightly above in terms of stats. It's just a 281 instead of a 280. And also, I wanted to have a reason to slide this little bad boy in here. This is a lower gear score, but really nice talents. Custom M870 MCS shotgun, again with Lone Star going on this week in the global event. This might not be a bad one to test out. This one comes in with 314.5% stagger. Now the reason why you'd want to check this out, even though the gear score is in the garbage bin, is because you have unforgiving, commanding, and then you have determined in the third slot. Now determined being very utilitarian, it could be really nice, and you won't have to worry about any of the electronics. You could also roll off commanding and put responsive in on this bad boy, and then really go to town. You could have this just be something to help you get your supers back, or so that you could use your skills even more often. So don't sleep on any of these talents, any of these weapons with determined in the third slot. They can be very useful and very helpful. So if you are in the market for one of these, or you want to test one of these out, and if you've never had a weapon with determined in the third slot, go ahead and give it a try. Kill about 7 enemies after you've used your super, and you'll get it right back. It's really good. So go ahead and check that out over at Camp Clinton if you need to. At the special equipment vendor in the base of operations, we have a gear score 280 Centurion sidearm. Now this pistol comes with destructive, which is kind of hit or miss. If you are running out of ammo in your primary and you want to switch to a different enemy and try to take off some of that armor quickly and then switch back to your liberator, then you can do that. But personally, I would rather have a different talent on that. But you know, being that pistols only have one talent that you can really roll, you could always change this if you feel like it. So if you need a Centurion and you want it on your hip, if you want destructive, you're good to go. But if you want to switch this out for something else, maybe something with bleed or some kind of utilitarian use, then you can do that as well. Head on over to the base of operations and check it out. Now it's time to wrap things up in the 284 plus gear score section. This week at the special equipment vendor in the base of operations, we have a gear score 284 Cassidy exotic shotgun. Now this comes in with a stagger of 344%. It also comes with the talents vicious, commanding, and boomstick. If you've been wanting to try this out as a blast from the past with the new Lone Star gear that's being sold, or that you can acquire, I should say, from the global event, then go ahead and check this out. It's personal preference. I personally think there are some better options out there, but I know some people who swear by the Cassidy, and they used to have a lot of fun with it back in the day. So if you want to try it out, go over to the base and check it out. Over at the Dark Zone vendor in DZ3, we have the First Wave PF45 with a gear score of 286. So this is as good as it's going to get, so you won't need to do anything with it. And to even make sure that you don't have to do anything with it, it comes with harmful. Now this has been like a signature PvP sidearm for the longest time. Switching to this bad boy, you know, you might be able to make an enemy bleed, which means they would slow down. You can hurry up and catch up with them if you're trying to run away. This is old school. So if you need one of these and you know you don't have one of these, this is as good as it's going to get. You don't need to do anything to it. It's already maxed out in every way. So go ahead and check this out over at DZ3 and go and see what's up with the vendor over there. And yeah, go and check one of these out. Go grab one if you don't have one. You need that. Just even have it in the background. Have it in the stock. Put it somewhere. You know, you never know. You might need it. Alright guys, that is it for episode 117 of Good or Garbage. I hope you found something useful that could help you out for your build, or maybe you've gotten something new for the global event. You want to try something out. Maybe you want to test out a few things. Maybe you want to see a weapon or something, or basically the only thing we really had this week were attachments and mods. So if there was an attachment or a mod that maybe you wanted to just kind of put in, even if it was a placeholder because you didn't have a stock of stuff for some new builds, then hey, you're in luck. But you know, it is what it is. Some weeks we have amazing stuff, like last week we had quite a few god rolls. This week we had a couple okay things, and I still think that sidearm pistol with harmful is a god roll. I didn't make a big stink about it, but I think it's really good. If you didn't get that, go pick it up, and I will see you guys next time.
Oh.